Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today we're going to be talking about the best baits for November bass fishing. We're finally coming down to the wire here in Pennsylvania on time that we can actually fish. If you've noticed, a lot of my videos have been indoors without a boat as of recently. I'm in the process of trying to transition over to a new boat here. I've been having some problems with mine. It's been keeping me from filming videos whole season. As you can probably tell, my channel's been lacking a little bit, but we'll be all fixed up here in no time and be able to get back out on the water, fingers crossed. Hopefully we can get it all done to go out and fish a little bit in November, but if not, we're going to try and make a trip to Florida in December like we always do, and try and film a bunch of videos there to be able to have on the water footage throughout the coming months in the winter when we can't film up here. And we're going to be doing some other stuff on the channel over the winter on like tackle craft, so you guys that do live in the Northeast and really don't have anything to do during the winter as well like me, I'm going to show you some of the ways that I save money on tackle, making my own stuff, how you can develop a better product than you can buy in store. All that stuff's going to be coming on the channel in the future, but today we're going to be talking about November bass fishing baits. And that one, the next couple coming up here in the best baits of the month, they're going to be actually December and January. I think I'm actually going to gear them towards Florida bass fishing since I'll be down there. And a lot of people like to travel towards the south and fish that time of year around Christmas vacations and stuff like that. So helping those guys out that do travel down there, or if you can still fish down there, that's what we'll be doing for those ones. And then during February or maybe January, we'll go back to what I'd be fishing up here in the Northeast or just slightly south of here if you're still able to get out on the water. November is an interesting month because it's going to be a few of the baits that you can actually still fish this time of year. And also November up here in the Northeast is different because some years, our November, we can be fishing on Thanksgiving and it'll be prime time, perfect conditions. We'll fish right into December and we can still have open water and fishing. And other years, Thanksgiving, things can either be frozen already or the fishing is so tough, like the water temperature will be high 30s, low 40s, that there's very few things you can actually fish out there. So these three baits I selected for the day are going to gear towards that on no matter what conditions you're given throughout November. These are the three baits that I'll be throwing and that you should be throwing as well if you live up here in the Northeast. No matter what your water temperature is, you can alter your retrieves, stuff like that, to actually get these baits to work. The number one for me, I'm finally going to start going to those finesse lures, and that's going to be the Ned Rig. So I love throwing a Ned Rig. I fish a lot of smallmouth up here, but this works for largemouth as well. This is going to be where you have to know where those fish live this time of year. And the problem with November winter bass fishing is that 90% of the fish are going to live in like 10% of the lake. They're very tightly grouped this time of year. They're going to be on very particular pieces of cover or structure. So if you can present your bait properly and something that's realistic down there, like a Ned Rig, you will catch a ton of fish, but you can also fish a lot of dead water too and catch nothing at all. So sometimes I don't want to go with a finesse bait, and that's where the next two will come in so I can search for them a little bit more. But if you have found fish, you know where they're at, you cannot beat a Ned Rig this time of year. It will catch fish time and time again. It works every single time, no matter how cold the water temperature is. You can work it a little bit faster if the water temperature is a little bit warmer. And I've caught fish all the way down into low 40, even high 30-degree water temperature on a Ned Rig. I've gone out to ponds right after the ice comes off and fished a Ned Rig and caught fish doing that. Right before they freeze up, I've caught them on a Ned Rig. I fished rivers when the water temperatures are like 42 degrees and caught smallmouth on a Ned Rig. It's just a great way to catch them this time of year. Setup, not really anything special. I'm going to go with a green pumpkin Ned Rig 99% of the time. That's what I'm going to throw on there, just a green pumpkin TRD. And I make my own Ned Rig heads. That's part of the videos that you're going to be seeing in the near future here. But this is one that I made myself. I pour them on like a special hook so that I land a lot more fish. They don't throw the hook as easily. I've played around with 6 or 7 different hook varieties and landed on this one finally. And they also save you a bunch of money. You're going to lose a ton of these in rocks if you're fishing them slow enough. So I pour my own to save some money. I just paint them green pumpkin, but you can paint the head whatever color you want. And I keep a bunch of different sizes, everything from an 1/8 all the way up to a 1/4. Those are the sizes that I'm going to roll with. It depends on how deep you're fishing. A lot of times this time of year, 3/16 or a 1/4 is pretty much all I'm going to fish because those fish are going to be a lot deeper. If you do have fish that stay a little bit shallower, that 1/8 or 3/16 could do it as well. But those two sizes are really what I'm gonna fish offshore, deeper water fish. Bait number 2 for me is going to be a major search bait for this time of year, allowing me to find and cover water, to find fish that are roaming around or just where they like to stay during those wintertime months. And that's going to be a jerkbait. I'm not a big jerkbait person, and it's something I'm going to work on a little bit next year because I don't fish it as much as I should. And living up here in the north, like, it's hard to beat a jerkbait for fish up here, and especially with all the forward-facing sonar stuff going on as well. Jerkbait's a really good way to catch a bunch of fish. But I usually fish a jerkbait without looking at forward-facing sonar. I cover water. I'm looking for fish on bluff walls and stuff like that, and it just always triggers a reaction bite. So like I said, I'm going to fish a lot of those steeper banks this time of year. This is the bait that I'm going to throw when I'm fishing those smallmouth bodies of water. I fish these on spotted bass lakes as well. If I'm going to fish a largemouth fishery, I'll throw the shallow diving version actually. So the two that I have here are the 6th Sense Provoke jerkbaits. I have the deep one, spotted bass, smallmouth. That's what I'm gonna go with this one. And then the shallow one, I'll fish it over top of dead grass, dying grass, places that those largemouth will roam. That's what I'm gonna use this. Even in ponds, it's a great option as well. This is pretty much the only jerkbait I fish. I really like that 3-hook design, especially this time of year. I've done a video talking about how to choose your jerkbait effectively, and that 3-hook design has a different action than a 2-hook design jerkbait. And this time of year when the water's cold, that's when I'm gonna go with that one. It allows me to really slow my bait down, and like I said, these are adjustable for how warm the water is. So right now, we're rolling into early November, and we still have some pretty warm water temperatures for what they should be this time of year. I might fish this a little bit faster, and then as we transition to the end of November, end of fall, I'll start to put more pauses in my bait and sit it a little bit longer in some of those areas where I know those fish might live, instead of trying to cover water and find them. When it comes to color, like I said, you have to have a deep and a shallow, but for color, I'm gonna use anything with some flash and white. That's always a good one if the water's a little bit dirty, so like a plain white like this one, that's when the water's stained, I'll go with that. A lot of times you're gonna have a lot of runoff and rain in the fall, so it might dirty up the water just a little bit. If you have a sunny day, I'll throw one with that flash on the sides. And then the Pro Blue or Pro Blue scales, anything with some translucence and some clearer water, that's a really good one there. And then the last one that I'm going to go with for smallmouth bass fisheries is going to be, this is called Wabi Sabi. It has that yellow belly on the bottom. Smallmouth absolutely love that color. I fish it pretty much Lake Erie, anywhere else up here that I fish smallmouth. That's where I'm going to throw that color a lot of the times. Catch a lot of smallmouth with that one. So jerkbait, great one to have for November and rolling into winter, but my true favorite bait for fall and wintertime bass fishing is going to be this guy right here. You've seen it a million times on the channel, and that is the Finesse swim bait. I probably catch more fish every year on this bait right here than probably anything in my tackle box combined besides like a Senko and a Ned Rig. I could fish probably those 3 baits and do 90% of my fishing that I do up here in the Northeast. But the Finesse swim bait is an excellent one this time of year because of the ability to vary your retrieve. So I can fish this bait very fast. I can fish it on a lighter head and fish it up shallow, suspended. I can do anything with it. Or I can throw it on a 3/8 ounce head like I have right here, a little bit bigger head, and get that bait down even deeper in the water and cover a deeper water where those fish could live, or fish it even slower. A lot of times these fish are gonna move out offshore, or they're gonna be sitting somewhere where they're not gonna wanna chase bait a lot. So you have to fish that bait really slowly in front of their face. My go-to is just a 1/4 ounce right here. This is the Pulse Fish Lures jig head. If you wanna use my code NQF10 on the website, you'll save 10% off your order, and you'll be helping out the channel a ton. And then my go-to bait for on the trailer here is going to be the 6th Sense Divine Swim Bait. This is in the 3.2 size. I like the 3.2 better than the 3.8 because a lot of times I'm fishing around smaller bait fish this time of year. I fish around smallmouth a lot. And the one thing about the 3.2 over the 3.8 is that it's much more pliable because there's less plastic in that bait. So it swims much better and it has a much better action at a slower speed. So that's why I'm gonna go with that one right there. It fits perfectly on this Pulse Fish head. You can get any of these 6th Sense products as well if you use my code Quince on their website. help the channel out a bunch there as well. You'll get 10% off your order on that one. When it comes to colors on the Swimbait, I use 2 colors, which I have right here. My number 1 color this time of year actually is going to be the white usually. So this is Ghost Ice Minnow. I'm going to use that one a lot more. Like I said, you get a lot of rain, you get a lot of runoff, water starts to get dirty, and you need something that they can find. But if you have some clearer water, you don't get a lot of rain this fall, something like that, that's when I'm going to go with the Pro Blue. That's usually my go-to color. I could get away with just those 2 colors right there. I honestly just buy packs and packs and packs of these. I order like 10 at a time of each color and just burn through them. There are plenty of other colors on the website that are either white based or like a natural shad based. They would work just as well. I just like to order 1 or 2 colors and keep it really simple instead of having like 6 colors in your bag and thinking, well, maybe they might like it if they have purple glitter rather than blue glitter. I don't even let that get in my head. If they're not biting one of these colors, they're not biting the Finesse Swimbait. So I try to keep it really simple and just narrow it down to those 2 colors right there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you want to see a video talking about how to fish this Swimbait this time of year, I did this last fall. Check that one out right there. We caught a ton of fish. It was an awesome video learning how to fish that Finesse Swimbait. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Leave a like down below and hit the subscribe button. And thanks for watching.